Hey, it's Travis. I'm the Creative Arts Pastor here at FCC in Santa Maria, California. And there's all kinds of stuff happening around the church today. We got maintenance guys in the room and we've got video projects working in the booth. So excuse the background noise, but we want to take just a couple of minutes and walk through this stage, the set that we have right here. In a couple of weeks, this all comes down. I know we've got quite a few questions of people who are asking how we did the build here and what some of the technology we used. Hope you can glean something from this as we walk through it today. If you got questions, our contact info is going to be in the description below, and you can certainly reach out to us, and I'd be happy to help you in any questions that you have. So hope this helps. All right, so we're just going to talk through some of the elements that we're using in this stage. A lot of them share different components between each other. We knew in the design of this stage that we wanted to have a lot of warm color coming from blinders, and so we built a bunch of different blinder components to this. And then we also wanted to use LED tape. LED tape wasn't something that we had used here in the past, but it's something that I wanted to dive into, and so this is kind of our first shot at that, and it turned out fantastic. So we'll talk a little bit about what we use, and we'll try to put in the description below as well actual model numbers and everything. We bought all of our LED tape from Amazon, and so that was a kind of a cost savings there to be able to do. So you can see behind me, this is a huge blinder wall. We have blinder walls that are also below the drums and the keys on the other side of the stage. And then flanking the outsides of the stage, we put smaller blinder walls as well. And these really helped us take the focus away from just the middle of the stage and try to widen it out and actually use most of the stage. So these blinder walls here, with all the blinders, we just use tri-ply, which is a really thin plywood we bought from Home Depot. It's the cheapest type of plywood that we could find. We used tri-ply, and we just built really simple 1x frames behind it, so the tri-ply attaches to the 1x frames. We cut holes for mixing bowls, so the metal bowls that you see with the light inside, the metal bowl in there for the blinder part, that's just a mixing bowl. We bought those from a restaurant supply company online and ordered just a ton of them, and then we drilled holes in the back of those with the drill press in order to fit the lights. The holes in the tri-ply where the bowls go, we cut those out with a CNC router, which is really nice for us because then we could just set it all on the computer, put the piece of plywood down, and the machine would do its work. It made everything really even. But if you don't have that, you can grid out your holes on a piece of plywood and then use either a jigsaw or a hole saw in order to make this work too. So if you don't have a CNC router, you can still make this happen. We happen to have access to it, and so we definitely use that. The lights that are behind the blinders there that stick through the bowls, those are pretty simple, just string lights that you would buy. We bought ours at Costco. You can buy them at Home Depot. They're like little patio hanging lights, and so we just bought those and plugged them into to dimmers, and then they're stuck through the bowls, and it works really well for us. So we have the ability to dim all of these. We actually noticed when we put these side blinders up, that when we brought it into full intensity, that it was way too bright for the congregation. So having dimmers is really a necessary thing to be able to make this happen. We can make it really bright in a big worship time, but definitely when it's a little bit longer time, like a message or a longer service, you get quite a bit of eye fatigue from looking at those if they're at full brightness. So we brought them down quite a bit. So the blinders on the outside, those are real simple. Then we move down to the blinders that are in front of the drums. There's a similar one in front of the keys on the other side of the stage. And to create a little bit of difference with these, we had a whole ton more of the blinders in here, so they're not spaced out quite so far. And then we added LED tape around. And so how we made these was pretty simple. The same as we talked about with the tri-ply and the 1x frame for the blinder portion. And then we built little 1x frames around it for this LED tape section. The front of this, the material is Coroplast. We again bought this at Home Depot. It's like $15 a sheet or so, and it's white in color when it's not lit, but with the LED light, it really kind of distributes that light really well. So this is Coroplast on the top. We just have gaffer's tape, just regular old gaffer's tape, or black duct tape works fine, to make it look nice and clean and finished as far as the edge goes. And then in the back of it, we actually have foam insulation, really thin. We bought 4x8 sheets of really thin foam insulation. The inside of that insulation has like a really reflective surface, and that helps distribute all that light outward instead of absorbing it toward the back. So that helps this be a little bit brighter. And then the LED tape, and we'll show you a couple pictures of what that LED tape looks like. That runs all the way on the inside and around behind this coroplast, and it's attached to the back of it facing out, so you get the kind of the most light that way. So there's the LED tape and blinders that are in front of the drums and the keys. We have similar boxes here, but just a little bit different in shape, and they're a little bit bigger. Same idea, we just built the 1x frames a little bit deeper in these, and then we used a bigger section of coroplast in the front. But again, it's LED tape that's behind there. If you have LED par cans or LED bar lights, a lot of people will light those from underneath there. So under the riser you could put a bar light and it would do the same thing as this. We wanted to use LED tape with this, so we got all kind of the same color out of that. So those are just kind of another way to add some color to the front of our stage in front of the risers. This was a big addition, and I'm glad that we ended up following through with this. Then we got the big blinder wall, and that thing is huge. So that is 6 sheets of 4x8 tri-ply as well. So yeah, she's big, and that thing is really heavy. We used 2x4s for the frame for that, knowing that it was going to be such a big piece. All of those are actually built independent, so each section comes off. So there's a 4x8 section and another 4x8 section that's then tied to it, and another 4x8 section. Those all stack on top of each other. That thing was a beast to get up. It took all of our staff to make this thing happen, and it was kind of hairy at times, honestly. So when you're doing this, make sure that you build it in a way that you can lift it and put it up. Once it's up, I love that this thing is not going anywhere. It's rigid, but it was a beast to get up, and all the staff around here is having a fun time thinking about how we're going to get it down here in a couple of weeks when we take this whole thing down. But the same type of idea that we talked about with the other blinders is the same thing with this. We did add one extra component which we really love with this blinder wall. We added a cross into the middle of it. So in order to do that, all we did was with the string lights that we have, we made sure that we lined the cross first, and then we put separate strands on different dimmers for the sections that you can see right now that aren't lit right now. Those have blinders, or those have lights in them as well, so that's a whole blinder wall, but we can just take the cross into it. And I think that was really accepted well by our congregation. So we introduced this whole set at Easter this year, and so the cross is kind of a big thing for us to make sure that we included in the set. The last component of this is that we've got these chevrons here, and they point in toward the cross. We're going to reuse these chevrons down the road in another stage set at the end of the year. But these chevrons are huge. They're each length of section is 8 feet long, so those things are big. We just built them the same way that we were talking with the 1x and the coroplast. For the sections that are in front of the risers. We did the same thing there. And then we actually used stringers that run across. Those are 2x2 pieces of wood. That just helps everything hold together, so we can have all 3 of those chevrons kind of in one section altogether. So we hang it all from that. We don't have to hang each one separately, but we have the ability to control each one on its own, so we can change the color of the first one or the middle one, or have them all different colors. And we'll show you at the end of this video kind of some of the lighting scenes that we use, or that we've used in the last couple of weeks, and how that might play into a worship set. It's fantastic for us. We've loved this set. It's time for it to go as well. We change our sets out 5 to 6 times a year, and so this one's been up for a little while here, and it's time to change it out. But man, this one has been awesome. We've loved it. We learned a lot with LED tape, how to use it, and so look forward to using LED tape in the future. I want to break that down just a little bit, so let me walk over here. LED tape is great, but on its own really doesn't do anything for us. And so you have to use a power supply with LED tape. So you buy the tape in this big roll, and you can string it, and you can cut it to length however you want it with a pair of scissors or X-Acto knife. And then you have to have a power supply that's going to power it. So you got to make sure you have plenty of power for the lengths that you're using. You can even put multiple lengths together. It's really a simple solder type connection, and you can put multiple links together, but you still have to make sure that you power it well. So the LED tape runs, there's a power supply, and then we also have DMX decoder. So we use a DMX lighting controller up in the tech booth, and that runs DMX control for all of our lighting. So we want to make sure we had control over all of this LED tape and put whatever color we wanted. So in order to do that, we purchased DMX decoders, and so that's a big thing. We'll try to get a close shot of that, kind of what this all looks like here. The DMX decoder, the power supply, and then the LED tape that's coming out of that. So again, pretty easy to do. There's a lot of really good tutorials on YouTube on how to use LED tape, but for us it worked really, really well and it's cost effective. And when we're done with it here, we can easily store it because it doesn't take a ton of space and use it again in the future, which is really big for us. We want to make sure that we're kind of being the best stewards of resources that we can. And so even though we want a completely different look for the next stage design, we can use LED tape down the road in the future and use it in a different stage, and it'll give us a different look, but not have to purchase it again. So that's a big thing for us, cost savings for sure. So hope this helps. Again, if you have any questions, our contact information is in the description below. You can email me. I'd be happy to answer questions. And then we'll try to give you a couple of wide shots of the stage with a few of the lighting scenes that we've been using on Sunday. And hope that this helps you and you get some good ideas for how you can use this in your ministry.